All right, everybody. We have a pre-PT success story testimonial video for the ages. We have the lovely Miss Karolina. Karolina, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Hi, Sean. Hi, everyone.
And Karolina has a great story to share with us tonight. So we'll go into a little bit of an intro, just kind of give us some information about you. And then I want to give as much time as possible for people to hear your story and the awesome experience that we've had this application cycle with you moving forward with your dreams. So without further ado, tell us a little bit about who you are and what's led you to where you're currently at.
So a little bit about myself. I'm from Poland, where when I was born and spent most of my life. And I've been in the United States, I think almost 8 years. And I am mom to two wonderful kids. One is a year and a half and 6-year-old. So I'm quite a busy mom. I graduated in Poland. My bachelor's degree was in Poland, and I graduated in physical therapy. That's where actually my passion to physical therapy started. I worked for a year after I graduated with my bachelor's degree, and I decided to explore different country, learn new language, and that's why I ended up in the United States, working with special need kids, traveling. And yeah, my journey turned 180 degree because I moved to the United States. I met my husband here, and yeah, that's when everything changed. I still decided to pursue my career in physical therapy here, which wasn't the easiest journey because all my diploma, everything that I earned from Poland wasn't quite accepted here. Maybe if I would have a master degree, it would be a little bit easier, but I had a bachelor's degree. So I couldn't go through like evaluation, wasn't the easiest path for me. And I still remember for the first time when I met with the counselor, was a community college advisor who said, that's how it works. I didn't complete like the US institution, so I have to go back and finish all the prerequisites if I want to apply to DPT. And that was eventually my goal, DPT. So yeah, back then I had my first kid. He was, I think, 2 or 3 years old. And I decided to come back to community college and complete all the prerequisites. And yeah, that's where my journey started. And I applied to 2 schools in California. I live in California, in Northern California. And I wanted to apply here. I applied last year and I got rejected. I got interview, I got waitlisted, and I unfortunately wasn't accepted. So that was quite hard on me. I wanted to give up because I knew, maybe it's not for me. Maybe I should go in a different direction. But after talking to my husband, I knew how hard I work, and I didn't want to lose all these years going through prerequisites. So I decided to apply again. And this time, successfully, I got accepted to both schools. I applied to 2 schools in the Bay Area here.
That's awesome. It's a tale of 2 completely different outcomes, right? But still the same goal, regardless. Like, you were trying to get into PT school, and I mean, gee whiz, there's so much to unpack from just that intro. Like, holy cow, what a life that you've had, right? I wanted to go back to, you initially were told by that community college advisor, okay, we got to kind of start over from ground zero. What was your initial, like, obviously it was probably a little disappointing, but talk through some of the emotions that you felt then and what it motivated or led you to do at that point.
Yeah, I still remember sitting in the office and my son was running around and doing some mess in the advisor's office. And I thought, do I really want to go through this? Like, I'm a mom. Maybe I should go in a different direction. I'm pretty much starting from zero. I already had some experience from Poland. Um, I thought maybe to go into different healthcare maybe related occupation. I consider nursing, OT, anything that maybe would be short and less time consuming than going through all the classes and or maybe PT8. I mean, I was eventually PT8, but something that will be easier, a little bit easier than the DPT journey. But then I realized like I don't see myself doing anything else. Like this is something I wanna do till the rest of my life, pretty much. So yeah, yeah. I attended community college and I completed all the prerequisites. On the way, our second kid, we had our second kid daughter, so everything was prolonged a little bit, but in a good way. So it was quite a long journey.
For sure, for sure. And I think the cool thing is there's so many people that like life happens and they get distracted from their goals and they're like, okay, well, I guess it just wasn't meant to be, or it's not going to happen. And that's not to say that like people's plans changing is a bad thing, but I just think it's so cool how determined you were and that you persevered through all of these different experiences, and that like physical therapies, of all the changes in your life, physical therapy has kind of been the constant for you. Of like in your heart of hearts, you know that this is what you want to do. And that was something that really stood out to me as we started working with you, is just like your passion was very much on your sleeve. Um, but it was just buried underneath all this other stuff that maybe we viewed it as like, well, it's kind of a liability and I don't really want to talk about this. So let's get into that because you mentioned it a couple times, right? So there may be people who are viewing this testimonial who are young moms who have multiple kids, and they started out pursuing a goal of becoming a physical therapist, and then life happened and they're like, well, I guess that's not going to happen. What is your message to someone who's in the same type of shoes as you?
Yeah, it's not like I'm an expert in this area, but I had a lot of moments of doubt. Um, but I would say it's possible, and if there's someone in the same shoes, just I would say don't give up, just keep going. At the end, kids, we are doing it for kids, and they're little right now, but they'll be proud of us and our accomplishment. So, and you're doing also for yourself, your passion. You want to accomplish something, you have a dream, you have a goal. So, of course, it won't be easy. It won't be easy. It's very challenging to study with kids, be full-time students. There's a lot of sleepless nights and studying at the same with the book, and it's not easy. But yeah, there's some crazy memories here, but it's worth it. It's worth it. So I would say keep going and don't give up to whoever is in the same situation.
That's great. That's great. And I think another thing that you've mentioned multiple times is that you had like such a good support system. Like your husband was very supportive and you were reaching out and asking people for advice and like getting a tribe around you, because it takes a village, even for someone who's like it's a single, right out of college, traditional pre-PT. They need a village, right? And so when you've got more bodies involved and a family and you're trying to keep all this stuff going in addition to pursuing your goals, you really need a tribe. You really need to make sure you've got people to support you. And I think it's good that you say that, Karolina, that like you did have moments of doubt, you did have moments of fear, because that's inevitable, right? Like it's a part of the process. And that's where the growth comes from, because if it was just easy, then everybody would do it, you know? So I think it's great that you speak to that of like, sometimes you're going to have to be honest with yourself and be like, I don't know how this is going to work, but you just put your head down and keep going and lean on the people who are rooting for you. And then eventually, boom, it's there. And you're like, wow, how did I do that?
Yeah, totally. And thinking about it as your strength. Like I remember our conversation, like multiple times you told me like, think this is your strength, like use it as your strength. And I connected with some of my future classmates in a future cohort, and it turns out there's more parents than me. So this is a wonderful, some are even with the younger kids. So it's definitely doable, possible. And if there's someone who's thinking to apply to DPT program, even as a parent, father, mother, just do it, I would say. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And thank you for sharing that. Like there's also, it's not just moms, there's also dads as well that are um, pursuing their dreams with the goal of helping provide for their family, right? And we've talked about this at length in our other conversations, but I know for me, like I did not have my kids when I was in PT school, but just in my career and with physical therapy application coach, like my family is always there. You know what I mean? Like patients and customers will come and go. And it's good to be there and to help support them. But at the end of the day, like we do what we do for the people that we love, right? We want to show them like these are good values. This is how you persevere and you reach your goals. And ultimately, like providing financially is also a good thing to do, right? So I think, like you said, when we flip that switch in your brain and we made it, being a mom is not a liability, being a mom is an asset, because it gives you a unique set of skills that a lot of fresh out of college pre-PTs have no idea. They have no clue, right? And it also gives you a maturity of like, there's some things you're just not going to worry about. You know what I mean? Like it's not as important. And some of the things we worry about when we're all on our own and we're only thinking about ourselves. Some of those thoughts can just be really, they're not pertinent and they don't give us anything that's going to actually lead to a successful outcome as far as that goes. So thank you for those thoughts on that. Anything else you want to add to the parent situation at all?
Current situation. Yeah, I guess I will also find out a lot of things how it goes. I'm not in the end of journey. I will just start the DPT school. So we're planning now logistics, how to manage everything with the daycare community. So that's on my plate right now. And I'm sure for someone who's in the same situation, there's a lot of logistics involved. Like someone who doesn't have kids won't probably go through it. I mean, everyone has a different family situation. So I'm not telling that someone without kids, it's easier. It might be not easy as well. So there's a lot of planning, logistics, and like I said, I was studying in a community college and I already have my 2 kids. So I kind of know how the process looks like being a full-time student. And so there's a lot of planning. I'm using like a calendar blocking. There's a lot of like looking for solution and your something that will help you to manage the week, manage the day, manage the hour, how to survive, and accomplish when you can study, when you can spend time with family. So like I said, I'm not an expert, but it's something probably that everyone needs to learn how to do it.
For sure. And I think that's also valuable that you've dipped your toes in it. You know what it's like on a smaller scale. You know, as prereqs are hard, but it's not the same rigor as a DPT program. But that's why you kind of have a little taste of what it takes to be successful with that, and then it just kind of slowly ramps itself up in terms of it, and you'll do great. You'll do great. I'm really excited to see how that turns out, and that your kids, they get to go to PT school with you a little bit, right? Like
Yeah.
on graduation day, when you finish, they'll be your oldest. It'll be how old? 9, 8 or 9.
Yeah, 8 or 9. I think it'll be 8.
So very much aware of what's going on. Like that's gonna be so cool to see that. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about this. We're going through, and you were getting ready to apply again. Find out about physical therapy application coach, and well, let's just start there, and then we'll ask further follow-up questions.
Yeah, so when I decided to try again and to apply, I knew I needed help, and I'm a very stubborn person. And for the first application round, I thought I can do everything by myself, and I sound like my toddler right now, all by myself. But I realized that I do need help. Even though I came very close during the first application process, I received some feedback from one of the school, and they said pretty much my application was great. There are some places I could work more. For example, my essay didn't show my personality. That was the feedback I got from one of the school. So I knew I needed help, and I started doing some research online, and that's where I came across PT application coach, and I reached out to you. So, and I'm very happy that I did it.
Yes, yes, we are too. We are too, because you have a very unique. Every applicant is different, and so it's a fun challenge. It's a fun puzzle to put together. And I remember when we first met that there was just like this weight that I felt on you, from the sense of like, okay, if it's not now, it's never type of a thing, which I don't think that would have been the case, right? Like, thank goodness we don't have to go through all this again, but I think you still would have found a way. It was so, the first conversation we had, I remember you looking at it and being like, I got so close. And the feedback that they gave you about like, we didn't get your personality. I think that was ultimately what, as a coach, that I recognized. I was like, oh my gosh, she has like all this amazing stuff in her life that she's just holding back because she feels like it's going to make her vulnerable. So anyways, after you found out and we started working with you, how do you feel like started to progress and we made a difference in terms of essays, interviews, all that stuff?
Yeah, so I can start with actually telling you how I felt after even our first meeting. Because like you said, I had a big doubt, like maybe it's not meant to be, maybe I shouldn't apply. And the same way, it's funny what you said, because that's what my husband also said. He was like, oh, she said that's the last time she's applying. Hopefully she'll get in, because I don't know what will happen if she wants to get in this time. So yeah, and for the first time I met you and we had a conversation, kind of like, I think you put me in the mindset that actually I can do it. Like, just believe in yourself, you can do it, you will do it, and we'll push you through the finish line. I still remember that. And it was so like uplifting. Like, I remember that's actually what I needed back then. So I just sit down and I know I need to get to work, and I need to work on my essays, I need to work on this and this and this. So that was a wonderful start. And we worked through first the consultation, and it was also nice to have the feedback from like a different perspective, because I could ask my husband or my friends or my family, but it's good to ask for help someone who's in a profession and someone who went through this. So I was very happy to have your feedback, and then we started working on our essays, which I was very proud of. Like, I still remember reading all the essays and I couldn't believe it's my essay. Yeah, and through the essays to mock interviews, that's pretty much all the journey, all the process we went through. And yeah, like I said that, and I'll say it again, I couldn't have done it without application coach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, Karolina. And I think it's like you said, I mean, you used everything we had to offer, right? And the message was basically the same the whole time of if you are an applicant who maybe you're reapplying or you're someone who's a non-traditional student and you are just doubting, wondering, worrying, a lot of what we do in that first visit is just not give you false hope, but we try to hype you up a little bit and be like, you can do this, especially in your case. You were on the wait list. Like you were this close. We're so close last time, right? And now, but sure, if you go back, information that you've been through this last year has been worth it. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it would have been nice to be a year ahead or whatever, but I don't think you doubt anymore that you can do it and that you're worthwhile to get in. But would you say that's accurate? That the doubt is gone?
Yeah, totally. The doubt is gone. It's a big relief. Right now, I got accepted to both schools. I applied to 2 schools and I got accepted to both. And yeah, there's no doubt. And I know there's still 3 very intense years in front of me, but I think it will be a great journey.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think with that being said, like that's part of what the application process is for, is to it's to prepare you for the rigors of the program, right? Like if it was just a super easy thing to get into, I think we would, graduation rates would be significantly lower, but it's hard. It's a hard thing to get into physical therapy school. And that's a good thing because it's a hard thing to finish physical therapy school and pass the boards and do all that stuff. Um, so you're well prepared. I know you're going to do fantastic. You have your tribe around you. You still have us. If you have other questions in the future, like we'll be there with you along the way because you've got a very bright future. You've got great things ahead of you, whether that's you continue with all your neuro residency stuff that you did previously, and you want to continue in neuro or whatever you decide to do. I'm just super excited for you to be in the profession. There's so many bright and intelligent and hardworking people coming into this profession. There's good things coming down the road, and I'm excited to have you become a doctor of physical therapy.
Sounds unreal.
Me? Really? Absolutely. So why would you recommend someone use physical therapy application coach? Why would someone off the internet benefit from this?
Yeah, like I learned my lesson first time. Don't be so stubborn and don't say I'll do all by myself, because there's some parts we are not great in. We are just humans and we need the help, and it's okay to ask for help. And I truly believe that application coach, like I couldn't have done this without application coach, and the whole process application was wonderful, and all the work together we did. I also learned a lot about myself as an applicant, as a future physical therapist. I remember you gave some like exercises at the beginning where we could answer questions, which I've never done before. And that was very helpful, not only for application, but for myself. So yeah, I absolutely recommend using application coach. No doubt.
Awesome. I like that you mentioned that because not everyone uses those resources, and we're so busy doing stuff that sometimes we don't have much time to sit down and just think, right? And just wonder about who we are and why we're doing all the things that we're doing. And that's part of why I love this time in an applicant's life, because it's this big inflection point when you've just been kind of keeping your head down and like doing all this stuff. And then when you actually go to apply, I know we've done our job if you like that fire gets rekindled again, right? And people are like, okay, I've been doing this for years. I'm exhausted. I'm just ready to be done with it. And then all of a sudden they come out and they're like, no, I deserve to get into school and I still want to do this and I'm going to be great. I just need an opportunity. and I hope you'll take me to your program. And you got accepted to both, which is fantastic to have options, right? So where are you ultimately going, and why did you choose that program?
Mhm. So I'll be going to UCSF SFSU DPT program in San Francisco. Even though the other school is a little bit closer to my location, but that was a very thoughtful decision. And yeah, the school pretty much, not only the school values much is because they really value diversity and inclusion. They have very diverse cohort and a faculty, and it's in the center of San Francisco, and they serve their community. But I also was able to meet some of the physical therapists that they graduated from UCSF SFSU program, and saying that I met the product of the school, which is kind of weird to call people product, but I saw the wonderful therapies that they underwent the training DPT program, and I had a chance to speak with them what they're thinking about the school. They completed all 3 years. They are therapists right now, and yeah, they went back in memories, and they were telling me a lot of things about the school, about the faculty. I think that was the best to hear their point of view. Good things, not much bad things, but a lot of good things about this school. And yeah, it's a public school, so financially it's also better than other option I had. And yeah, I was attending all the informational session online, also in person. And I think in person, that was the time where I felt this vibe of the school. I met students, I met faculty, and that's where I realized that's where I would like to be.
For sure. So you did your homework. It wasn't just like, oh, I got in, but this was a major thought exercise, and you did your homework, made sure you know what you were getting yourself into.
Yes, yes, yes. I definitely did research. Like I said, the other school, it's really close to my location, but I am committed to this future commuting I will have to do. But I think that's my number one choice, my number one school.
That's great. That's great. Well, Karolina, thank you so much for giving us some time this evening to have you share your story with us, give your advice and your perspective and your recommendations to people. And I know that there's going to be people who watch this that they'll come away feeling uplifted, or maybe they'll be like, yeah, that's me. This is the push I needed. And that's what's exciting. That's why I like these testimonial videos. Is we've got a lot of people who are more traditional PTs, but we also, just recently we had someone who was like, worked as a PTA for 25 years and then decided to go back and become a physical therapist. And like,
Wonderful.
she
Yeah.
is so inspiring, right? Like, wow, what a cool person that she's doing that, and makes me want to be like, oh, I should be better. But
you do what you're doing.
so
But I watched the testimonials, and that was pretty amazing. Yeah.
that was so cool. And like, we just get to work with these amazing people, like yourself, who come along, and this is exciting and enjoyable to do that. So thank you for sharing your story with us. If you need anything in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. And then I've been trying to reach out to students once they get into physical therapy school, but they're also busy. But they're just like, yeah, we'll do it later, and they'll do like a follow-up interview. I had one almost we did over the winter break and then disappeared. But we'll have to check in and see how things are going with your life, juggling school and being a mom and all that stuff, to show people what it's like in the thick of it.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right. Thank you so much, Karolina. You have a fantastic night, and best of luck with everything. Okay.
Thank you, Sean, again. Thank you for everything and for all your help.